Okay, to solve half-life calculations, you have to look very carefully at the question. There are only two types of questions. A question that has one activity and information, numerical information of 2 years and one activity. So this is a type of question that has two dates and one activity. This is one type of question. We're going to deal with this one first. So the question says, what will the activity be after 10 years if the half-life is 5 years and it starts with an activity of 2,000? So in order to answer this question, the first thing we need to do is start off with our activity of 2,000 becquerels, and in one half-life we need to understand that would turn into 1,000 becquerels. In another half-life that would turn into 500 becquerels. In another half-life it would carry on and turn into 250 becquerels, and so on and so on and so on. So we need to understand that there is a chain. Every single half-life the activity will reduce by half and a half and a half and a half again. So we know that one half-life from the question is 5 years. So it says, what will the activity be after 10 years? So 10 years is going to be the same as 2 half-lives. You can work that out because one half-life is 5 years, so if you double that, 10 years is going to be 2 half-lives. So this is going to be 2 half-lives. And you can see that one half-life took us to 1,000, 2 half-lives will take us to 500, 3 half-lives will take us to 250. So the answer is going to be 500 becquerels, because we have 2 half-lives here and 10 years is going to equate to 2 half-lives. So that's how you answer that type of question, and that question gives you numerical information including one activity and 2 values of time, 2 kind of dates. So the next type of question is very, very similar, except you look at the actual data you're given. So the strontium-90 isn't important here, it's just any type of isotope. So it's 500 becquerels, 120 years, and 625 becquerels. So you have 2 values for activity and 1 value for time, 1 date value. So it's the opposite way around to the previous question that had 1 activity and 2 dates. Here you've got 2 activity and 1 time. So again, you start with the same idea. You know what the activity is at the beginning. It's 5,000 becquerels. And in one half-life, that would change to 2,500. And then that would go on to change in 1,250. Then again to 625. And then again to 312.5. So the value of the activity changes by a half every single half-life. Now the question says it starts at 5,000, which we've got here, and ends at 625. So we can see that it's 1 half-life, 2 half-life, 3 half-lives takes us to 625. So 3 half-lives is how long it took. And it also tells you that is the same as waiting 120 years. So if 120 years is 3 half-lives, what is the half-life? It's basically saying, well, how long is 1 half-life? So if 3 years is, if 3 half-lives is 120 years, 1 half-life is going to be 40 years. And that's your final answer. So there are only really 2 types of questions. The questions are going to involve giving you 1 activity in 2 times, or 2 activities and 1 time. And you answer the same question, the questions in a very similar way. Start off by starting with the top activity and work down. There could be an alternative to this, which would be, you know that the final activity is, say, 250, and then you've got to work up. But either way, you're dividing by 2 if you know what the initial activity is, or you're multiplying by 2 if you know what the final activity is. Okay, that's it. I hope that helps with your homework.